are in uncertain times, and during these times, many folks are doing what? Leaning on family to find support. But those who have aged out of the foster care system and have nowhere to turn, well, that's simply not an option. Here now is one woman's story.
My name is Jeanette Rivera. I'm 22 years old and I'm from Harlem, New York. When I was 3 months old, my mom died from AIDS and my dad died from a drug overdose. So I went into foster care and I was from foster care from 14 to 21 years old. I was in a lot of foster homes and group homes and bouncing from place to place. There's times where you have disagreements, misunderstandings with some of the foster parents, and you have to sleep on the train, you have to sleep in the park, you have to try to bathe in the hospital, try to find any place for shelter. I found out I was pregnant when I was 17 years old. I remember telling my foster mother and she kicked me out. I was homeless and pregnant, I didn't know where to go. I want everybody to understand the struggles that us youth face being in the system. Our children deserve a better system. They deserve better support systems. They deserve better guidance so that they can be better people in this world, so that they can have a better shot at having an amazing future.
And we are joined now by Jeanette Rivera and board member of CASA, Charell Starr. Thank you both for being with us. Jeanette, I want to start with you. This pandemic seems to make just about every problem we have a little worse. It exacerbates issues. And one thing you talked about is that there is a lack of support for children aging out of the foster care system. How is the pandemic actually making that worse?
The pandemic is actually making it harder for us because we don't have a lot of outlets anymore. We don't have a lot of resources. We don't have a lot of places to turn to like we used to back then before the pandemic. It's making it really rough because it's so scary. There's no safe place to go. Like, we're all terrified, especially as a parent. I'm scared for my kids, for my own safety. It's a lot. It's very nerve-wracking at this time.
And Charell, tell me a little bit about the work that CASA is doing in supporting these young people, but also how your experience, your own personal experience, is now informing the work that you do.
Sure. Well, CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates, and you can think of them as volunteer role models, volunteer, just positive adults, mentors who help youth from, when they're babies all the way to when they age out of care, just being that, again, a positive adult reinforcement for them to help get the things that they need while they're in foster care. And CASA is an incredible organization. And me, myself, I spent, a number of my childhood years in foster care, bouncing around from home to home. I was in 6 different schools in 6 different years. And, I was lucky. I was reunified with my mom. I ended up going to college. I ended up having a great career after foster care. But I was really lucky. And youth in care shouldn't have to depend on luck because they're already vulnerable. They're some of the most vulnerable people in our society, and they should have to depend on luck to live positive lives.
And tell me about the push, Charell. And I know this is something you've talked about and that should be pushed for. Maybe it's not talked about enough, but a moratorium right now during the pandemic. There's moratoriums on actual rent and evictions right now. Should there be one for young people aging out? You shouldn't be able to age out of foster care during this pandemic.
You absolutely should not be able to age out of foster care during this pandemic. And an average year, about 50% of foster care youth end up homeless within 18 months of aging out. So now it's even worse. And there are moratoriums. 8 different states and the District of Columbia, D.C., Washington, D.C., has passed moratoriums for aging out, meaning that they have suspended aging out in those areas. But a majority of the country has not. That means most of the country, and most of the states that are watching right now, youth are still aging out and aging out into homelessness and ending up on the streets. And there is legislation right now, the Supporting Foster Youth and Families Through the Pandemic Act, but it is stalled right now because everything is stalled in Congress and the House.
And Jeanette, I want to wrap with you here. If you can just button this up for me. The idea sometimes, unfortunately, that foster kids, there's this idea, unfortunately, people have sometimes that there's some kind of, it's their fault they're in the position they're in, or there's some kind of problem child of some kind. Can you please address that and something maybe you would want people to know about foster kids?
Yes, definitely. I just want everyone to know that no child asks to be abused. No child asks to be put in dangerous predicaments where they have to be removed from their loved ones and their families. We didn't ask to be in the system. We didn't ask for these things. We need to be treated as regular children are treated when they're home with their families. We're no different We're human beings just like everyone else.
All right, Jeanette, thank you so much for that. Jeanette Rivera and Charell Starr, really appreciate both of you being here. Certainly the work that you're doing and the advocacy that you're doing right now, and just putting yourselves out there and sharing your own personal story. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.